Hey guys, Ashby with Ashby Farms, and it is hot outside. It was 93 degrees yesterday. It is 91 out today, and the garden is just kind of booming right now. So the reason I haven't posted any pictures of the farm last 2 weeks is everything's just kind of been growing. Everything's just kind of been growing the last 2 to 3 weeks, and during that time period, I've taken the time to build out a lot more beehives. I'm going to be pulling splits this Saturday with my dad. We're going to try and make about 40 new hives. So stay tuned on YouTube for that update. With that being said, I just want to kind of show you what I'm out here doing with tomatoes right now. So the tomatoes are just bushes, and we aren't growing tomato bushes because we don't get paid for growing tomato bushes. We get paid for growing tomatoes. So this video is kind of about hard pruning. I just want to kind of show you what we do. So I trimmed this row here yesterday, and basically we're taking off all of the lower stalk, all this right here, all this right here. Eventually we're going to run it to like a two-way split there, but with most of them just going to a single split. And last night this whole row here was all just laid over like this, and just in a matter of one day they stand back up. And the reason that this is important to do is we want a lot of airflow down low on these tomatoes. So with tomatoes, they are susceptible to fungal infections really easily, kind of the weenie of the garden. And so my whole goal is to keep all the lower limbs gone all summer, and we can manipulate the plants sometimes in a way to do that. But the way we do it early on, basically you've got this bush, as you can see, and it's growing like 10 different tomato plants. We want to cut all those suckers off, get them gone. As you notice, I put all the plant material in the middle of the row, and I do not let it fall right here on top of the hay. And the reason being for that, all this is susceptible to breakdown. It's got a lot of fungus growing on the leaves, and if you leave it right there, it's all going to the fungus and the fungal issues are going to transplant onto the plants. So within a day, as you can see, all this is wilting. I'm going to take you over here in just a little bit and show you. That's about a week ago. But with the way I do these tomatoes, you know, there's a plant every foot. If we get a tomato fungal infection here, it'll spread across the whole farm. The whole crop will be wiped out like for the season. So through spraying like baking soda, neem oil, there are a lot of antifungals. By putting the hay in place, a rain droplet would normally hit the dirt, that splashes dirt up on the plant, then the plant gets a fungal infection, then the plants die. We're looking to have these plants producing tomatoes up through Halloween. They're going to get to be about 8 feet tall. We're going to top them right here at about 5 feet. They're going to put out a later crop in the top 2 feet of the plants. But we can't do all that if we don't take care of this first. So let me give you an example. If we look at the wind tries to blow through this and it can't. And that allows for a lot of moisture to get trapped down there, and it creates a problem. Now the last like 2 weeks, we're on day 15, and we haven't had any rain whatsoever. I haven't watered these plants in 2 weeks whatsoever. The biggest advantage right now to keeping hay on here is it holds all the moisture in. And as you can see, these plants are just booming just fine, doing the way they are. I'm using my little pump sprayer once a week to foliarly apply my 20 fertilizer. And of course, the plants are just taking off. So let me touch on something else while I'm right here. In this row, go ahead and put in your first strings. I've got the tomato plants, and our goal with the drip line is that the drip line will lay between the post and the plant. But I don't stake these in place. And the reason being is at the end of the season, I need to be able to pull them out of the way. And if you have stakes all throughout times 17 rows, it is a real pain. I've done it before. So in this case, most of these plants needed to stand up today, and then you just kind of go through like this, grab your whole plant, bend it over, pull it up through, and now that's our first string, and that's going to help the tomatoes from falling over. Now if we look down this whole row right here, they're all stood up straight today. Let's walk over here a couple rows. So basically I started over here at what used to be my big greenhouse, And my plants were doing just like this. They're all falling over. What happened was I cut them and then I didn't string them up till yesterday, and they all went kind of wonky. And so this is like a good example of a row I did yesterday here. And eventually they'll just kind of slow, they were pointing to the ground last night. Now they're pointing kind of this way, and in a couple days they'll point straight up. They'll grow up right. But the whole point is to get them established going in an upward direction. We want them off the ground. Now, as far as plants and sizes of the plants go, these plants here did the exact same hard pruning method to 1 week ago. So this is 1 week's growth out here. Take you down. As you can see, all this is decayed plant matter in the row, and as I walk on it, it'll just crush up, blow away, become compost. But that's how much these plants are gonna grow here in a matter of 1 week. Now the advantage is, if you look down low, the wind can blow through all this. Look at this, we got a little tomato starting right there. But the wind can blow through here. And as I mentioned, my biggest problem in the spring is the spring winds, and my biggest advantage in the summer is this wind that blows through. But if there's too much foliage down there, the wind can't blow through. So we're just kind of setting these plants up for success so that they don't have any fungal issues. That's my number one cause. That's what's gonna kill my whole farm if I let it. So we're gonna go through once, hard prune them. These plants right here in this first row, I'll kind of show you, but they'll grow out. You get these real long leaves. As soon as they touch the ground, they'll get fungus on them, they start decaying. So I'll come back through and do a second cutting, maybe like a week or two. But in the meanwhile, we're just kind of letting everything grow, starting to get everything pointed in an upward direction with the strings. And I do my strings, I'll start a box of string, I'll tie it to a post, I walk all the way down one side, I walk all the way back down the other, and basically I just walk along, loop it around this post. So I'm staying on the one side and loop it on this one, and then when I make it around the end, I come back down here on this side and pull them in tight. And the whole goal is this plants, as they go up, they're gonna wanna spread out, and each time we're gonna use the string to pull them back in. They'll grow and they'll spread out, and we'll use the string to pull them back in. And basically you just end up with tunnels of tomatoes. Another reason for doing a hard pruning method, this is a great example of the tomato here. So we got rid of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 suckers off that plant, and all that's left is this little bunch of leaves up top. And some people might think, like I tell people, whenever you're done hard pruning, you should go to bed thinking that you maybe killed all your tomato plants. It should leave you like really unsettled. But in all honesty, it's really good. We're focusing the production of the plant upwards. All of the focus of the roots that have been established so far are now putting all that energy right here into this plant. And as we saw in the first row over there, they'll start to explode, and in no time they'll be up maybe 3 feet tall in like 3 weeks. They'll grow a foot a week. That's the advantage of fertilizing. Remember, with fertilizing, it's better to do like a weaker dose of fertilizer more often. I do once a week versus maybe a once or twice fertilizer where it's real heavy, and then sometimes you burn plants, sometimes they take off and then they die, or sometimes they'll take off and then you get like a 5 foot tall tomato plant and they quit producing in August. I mean, I've had that happen before, but at the same time, usually now our tomatoes come in well into mid-October. We were pulling them last year up till November the 5th. I mean, not in mass at that point, but you're still able to pick 75, 100 pounds once a week. At that point in time, you're getting a premium price because they're still fresh tomatoes and people still really want them. So that's kind of what's going on out here at Ashby Farms. That's what I've been doing. Altogether, it takes me about 15 hours to trim all these rows, about an hour per row. And then second cuttings will take me about 25 hours, but that together, let's just call it 45 hours. That 45 hours takes my yield from, maybe an average of 2 pounds a plant to a yield of sometimes upwards of 5 pounds per plant. It really just depends on the season. But the other thing I got to do is get my drip lines in place. Of course, I can't do that as long as they're tomato bushes. So as soon as, I'll show you this row. As soon as I get them trimmed last night and get all the foliage out of the way, we set the drip line. go ahead and set up the lines. These guys, they won't quite reach right here, so we'll give them another week or so to grow. I'll come back manually and stick them under the line. That's okay to do. I mean, it won't take me long to string them up, but with the offset of the plants on one side and the posts on the other, that first string's kind of hard to do, but then they'll make their way up. I mean, they're a vine. So guys, this is my hard pruning video about, of course, these are all German Johnsons, but this is my how to hard prune and why I hard prune and what's going on at the farm. Just a quick update. So if you like today's content, please hit the subscribe button and like my content. Of course, I'm a new YouTuber, but I do know a little bit about farming and pretty good at it. So if you don't mind, help me out, like it, share it, and y'all have a great day. Thank you very much.